Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Rev Trev, and I'm so glad that you're here. If you're a fan of the NHL, or you are especially a fan of the Canucks, I want to welcome you here to Kempner Canucks. Today, I want to be talking about this massive issue in Vancouver about the number one priority for our team should be that we re-sign Elias Pettersson. But the question is, how much? How much is he going to ask? How much is he going to get? How much are the Canucks offering? These are the big questions of the day. Now, don't forget that Petey, when he was re-signing and did that bridge deal with us, where Hughes got more money, they said that we're going to pay you end up later on, you're going to make more money. He implied that if, and in fact he didn't imply, he said if Vancouver is in a position to be competitive and make the playoffs, that he might, if they are, he'll sign back happily. But if we're not, he might not sign back with Vancouver, and that's a big deal. And I've been thinking about that ever since that interview, and I've been trying to find that interview. I can't find it anywhere, but I remember watching it, and I've been nervous. And I think that's one of the reasons why Vancouver has decided to go all in to make the playoffs this season. They're proving to their players, to their fan base, they want to make the playoffs, so that's what the kind of moves. A lot of people want us to rebuild, but the fact is they keep saying we're retooling, and the plan for this season is playoffs. And so I do appreciate they're just going for it. It is what it is. You may disagree or agree with that. Doesn't matter what we think. That's what they're doing. So what will Pettersson cost the Canucks? Now, I know what people are saying, but I've been thinking, I think he's going to start asking for $11 million. I think that's why it hasn't happened yet. And this is crazy, right? It's absolutely nuts to think $11 million for someone who's only had one great season. Like, let's just be honest. He's a very good player. He's top 10, all those kind of things, but he's only had one great season. And if he doesn't have a great season, he's not getting that kind of money. So I think he'd be pushing to try to do it now. I know the Canucks want to get it done now. I've heard that they're in contract negotiations and have both agreed it's gonna be long term. So whether it's 6, 7, 8 years, I'm assuming it's gonna be 8. If you haven't hit that like and subscribe yet, why don't you do the Rev Trev hat trick? You're already watching, so that's the first thing. Second of all is please leave a comment. I love connecting with each one that comments. And hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. I'd really appreciate your support. So do the Rev Trev hat trick right now. Okay, so let's talk about Pettersson, okay? Super talented, skilled center. If the draft got redrafted in his year, he would be 1 or 2. You know, he's that good. Now, he is 24 years old, so that's his age. His demand is that he's a top 10 player from last season. He's got Selke votes. He's got Hart Trophy votes. He won the hardest shot competition at the All-Star game, which is still mind-blowing at his size. So what he's able to generate on his shot is absolutely spectacular. He's got skill coming out of everywhere when it comes to hockey. But his production is that he hadn't produced until last season. And so I'd like to personally see him do it again this season before we sign him. But I know that that's not going to happen because I believe they're going to have to offer him something super high if he doesn't play lights. If he does play lights out again, like he's got to stay in the high 80s or in the 100-point range to get good money, in my opinion. If he waits, if they wait, and so. This is my opinion when it comes to every team in the league, especially Vancouver, that we must pay our stars. I know a lot of people want these deals and home cooked deals and all this kind of stuff. At the end of the day, pay our stars. You can find budget players that are going to contribute in other ways. Difference makers need to be paid. So, like I said, I think it's going to be an 8-year contract, but times what? Is it $10 million a year? And let's just say it's going to be 10 million instead of 11 for a second. Can the Canucks afford that? The bigger question is, can the Canucks not afford to do that? Like, they have to re-sign him, because if they don't, we're in major, major trouble. Like, major trouble, okay? So, but what if he asks for 11, which I don't think is out of the realm of possibilities, okay? So, here's the thing. When it comes to people doing comparisons, it's Braden Point, right? Is a lot of people are talking about. But I don't think that's the greatest comparison. I think when you're doing comps, you're going to have to do guys who are also at their contracts coming up at the end of this season: Austin Matthews and Sebastian Aho. Okay, so here's the comp. Okay, on these guys. And it's so fascinating to me, because if you look at it, Braden Point, 27 years old. This is the comp everyone wants to use. 82 games, 95 points. He signed for $9.5 million. Now, Aho is way less, almost $5 million, just under $5 million, 75 games, only 67 points. So it'll be interesting what he's going to get in Carolina. But Austin Matthews signed a massive contract and has produced until this season. Like, he's had a 60-point a goal-scoring year. Like, he's one of the most prolific goal scorers in the NHL, okay? So 25 years old, 74 games, only had 85 points. That's low for him, but he's $11.64 million, and he's coming up as a UFA at the end of the season as well. And then Elias Pettersson, who's 24 years old, played 80 games, had 102 points, $7.35 million. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that it's going to be $11 million. Now, some of you are like, the $11 million, that's so expensive. I mean, I get it, but if I was him, that's what I'd be asking for. But my question is, what do you think? Do you think he resigns with Vancouver, and for how much and for how long? Please post it in the comments. I'd love for you to hear what you have to say. So just a couple other points that I want to share with you. In my opinion, if we can get him for any price between $9 million and $10 million, we should just do it. We gave $8 million times 7 to JT Miller, and I don't think $10 million at 8 is unrealistic for Petey. Okay, but the question is that I proposed at the beginning is, does he want to stay? And it sounds like he does right now, which is really cool, and that's great. But if the Canucks wait, he could change his mind. Now, I do think that they're going to be offering him the captaincy. As you saw in my other video on who's the next captain, I did not say that Petey should be that guy. I do think that they offer it to him. I think Quinn Hughes, JT Miller are better candidates for being the captain of the Vancouver Canucks, the next captain. But I think they're going to offer it to Petey as an incentive to get him to sign in Vancouver. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he is. Now, if Vancouver screws this up, let's just say worst case scenario, that he doesn't want to sign here, that they try to lowball him, and he's just like, I'm good. It could be devastating for the future of the franchise. Other free agents aren't going to want to come here. They're going to say, look what happened there. Well, look at what happened with Calgary, right? Johnny Gaudreau just totally hosed them at the end. Said no, thanks, and just walked. They didn't get any assets for him, nothing. And look at what the snowball effect has been. We thought that they had recovered in those trades and in those pickups when Matthew Tkachuk wanted to go, and they got Barkov, and they got all these other players, right? And you're sitting there going, man, they got a great haul for it with Uyghur, and I feel like I'm missing someone key there that they also got. And they are absolutely in trouble. They're in shambles at the moment. And it's partly because Johnny Gaudreau just walked. And I just do not want to see that happen in Vancouver. So what do you think about Pettersson possibly wanting $11 million? I mean, that makes sense, right? If he's 24 years old, going to be a 100-point player, I can see him asking for that. But again, I would just like anywhere between $9 and $10 million. I'd be super happy with. I think that would be great. I don't know why it hasn't been done yet, because I do think he's asking for somewhere in that $10.5 to $11 million range. That's just my guess. I haven't heard an insider say that, okay? So thanks so much for watching. Do the Rev Trev hat trick. Watch, comment, and subscribe. And, of course, always, go Canucks, go.